Judas, a mafia's tale. The chair groaned as Judas leaned back, its blood-red leather swallowing him whole. The chandelier's weak light shimmered across a thick gold chain draped over his chest. His fingers traced lazy circles around the rim of a glass of Perrier Jouet 1874, bubbles long gone, like the innocence he'd buried in Far Rockaway's frozen ground years ago.
"They don't ask me how I got this way,"
he muttered, his voice carrying the gravel of 1,000 betrayals. The words scraped against his throat like broken glass.
"Nah, they see the penthouse, the tailored suits, the women, the empire built on bones, and think it sprouted from nothing, like I manifested power with prayer and good intentions."
But power, real power, always demands its tithe in blood. The memory flickered unbidden. 10 years old, barefoot in December slush, watching his mother's tears freeze on her cheeks as the eviction notice fluttered in the wind. Before Tut found him, before the streets taught him that survival was the only scripture that mattered. He gestured toward the skyline with his glass, amber liquid catching the light like liquid sin.
"This ain't no castle, understand? It's a mausoleum wrapped in steel and glass, built on a mountain of the dead. My own tomb, really, and every corpse beneath these foundations."
His laugh carried no humor, only the hollow echo of a man who'd counted the cost too late.
"They had it coming."
The silence that followed was sharper than any blade he'd ever drawn. Outside, the city breathed its neon prayers to gods who'd stopped listening centuries ago. Inside, Judas sat alone with ghosts that whispered his name like a curse. Betrayer, traitor, the 13th disciple. But they didn't know, couldn't know. The Gospel of Judas lay hidden in Tut's safe, its ancient papyrus, holding truths that would shake the foundations of faith itself.
"The most faithful of all disciples,"
the text whispered.
"the one who loved enough to bear the weight of betrayal."
Had Christ fed him that final piece of bread knowing? Had Tut smiled in his last moments, understanding that some betrayals were acts of love? The intercom buzzed, harsh and insistent. Judas didn't move. 3 floors down, his lieutenants waited for orders. The 12 families expected leadership. The streets demanded blood for blood. But up here, in this crystal cage suspended between heaven and earth, Judas Adams, Yehudas Iscariotes, the 4th son to those who knew the weight and number of names, sat with the terrible knowledge that even kings could be pawns in games they couldn't see. The chain around his neck grew heavier, not gold but burden, not jewelry but shackles. To everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under heaven. King Tut's voice echoed from memory, steady as scripture, solid as the Sabbath stones they'd shared in silence. The old man had taught him that power without purpose was just another kind of slavery, that a crown meant nothing if the man wearing it had sold his soul to claim it.
"Time," Judas whispered to the empty room, "but time for what?"
The answer came not in words, but in the weight of silence itself, pressing down like the hand of forgotten gods or the grip of damnation. In the distance, sirens wailed, the city's eternal lament, crying for mercy that would never come. Judas closed his eyes and felt the darkness welcome him home.
"They called me Judas. Thought they were smart. Said I sold out the Don, but they got it twisted. I ain't betray him. I saved him. Them whispers in his ear, them rats in his walls, I tore 'em out by the root. They thought I was burying the Don, King Tut, Pharaoh of the East Coast, but I was keeping his name alive. And yeah, some rats got buried too. That's just business."
He brought the glass to his lips, stilled there. The silence was thick, predatory.
"Tut was like a father, pulled me up from the gutter, taught me how to walk like a king in a world built to break you. And when the 12 families left me twisting in the wind, I remember what Tut told me. You don't need their love, kid. You need their fear. So I gave it to them. Shadow under their beds, bogeyman in a silk suit.
The glass clicked soft against the table. The sound snapped through the room like a distant gunshot.
Yeah, they called me Judas. Thought they wrote me into hell. But here's the joke. Judas ain't the villain. He the hinge, the hand that flips the table. No Judas, no betrayal, no betrayal, no resurrection. And without resurrection, ain't no kingdom.
He leaned back, arms spread wide like the Black Messiah crowned in gold. The room around him, marble, glass, shadows, was less kingdom than tomb. Even the light seemed to shrink away from him. His presence pulled at the darkness. The shadows bent closer, listening.
They call me traitor. Damn my name in every book, but they don't know a damn thing.
His fingers started tapping the desk, a slow, cruel rhythm, like a clock counting down.
I crossed every line, swallowed every inch of the dark, and I'm still standing. But power always got a cost.
His reflection stared back at him from the glass. Not a man, but something built from rage and ambition.
They say I sold him out. 30 pieces, 30 kilos actually. Sin don't care what you weigh it in.
He laughed low.
They made me the scapegoat, and the world bought the story clean.
He rose to his feet. The authentic beauty and carefully defined artistic allure of the Stacey Adams lace-ups, leather soles creaking against the marble, like it remembered everybody that fell in his name. He paced slow, shadows stretching with him.
I ain't betray him, I betrayed them. The snakes whispering in his skull made him weak, made him believe in a world that never existed.
The hum of the city faded behind the chorus in his head, the whispers of old sins that never stopped talking.
They cast me out, called me demon, wrote their pretty little story, but they forgot I ain't their villain. I'm the one holding the pen.
He paused at the window, looking down at the city, that dying beast that still called his name.
Judas, enemies, nah, collateral. In this life, don't matter who bleeds, long as you're the one still standing.
His hand brushed a stack of bills. Cold, always cold. Power never stayed, it just passed through.
You want to talk betrayal? That's old, been happening since the first lie. This ain't just streets or families. This thing's bigger. The ones pulling the strings, they don't need your name, just your weakness.
The city stretched beneath him like a corpse that wouldn't quit breathing.
They say I'm mad. Maybe I am. Maybe madness is the only way to stay alive out here.
A twisted smile carved its way across his face. Somewhere far away, something old was stirring.
The Lion of Judah will rise through fire.
Judas's eyes shut, whispered a hymn. A siren wailed outside, not a cry, but a hunting song.
Funny thing about rats, they never see the trap. And me?
He raised his glass slow, a mock toast to the city and all its ghosts.
I'm the one who sets it.
The lights flickered. The city hushed. Judas drank.
Ready to escape the ordinary? Welcome to the 13th Oracle, your new portal to a different world of stories.
If you love a gritty, unforgettable novel, you need to hear about this. The rise and reign of Judas Adams, a Harlem kingpin, a betrayal, a gilded cage of his own making. He's haunted by his choices and an ancient gospel that completely reframes his damnation. Intrigued? Good. What to do next? Hit the link below in the description to visit our website. You'll find all our books listed there. Order your copy. You can buy them directly on our site or through Amazon. Don't hesitate. Get your copy today. And most importantly, the Judas Adams story is coming soon. Make sure you subscribe to the 13th Oracle channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the trailer, release date, or special sneak peeks.
Dive into the story, grab a book, join the 13th Oracle.